Hello, Team Canada. So excited to have everyone join us today. My name is Vicky. I'm with Cami. I live in Toronto, part of the Canadian branch, if you will. Very excited for all of you to join us. And I'd like to, oh, well, if I can go a little deeper, I manage Ontario and Eastern Canada. I had gone through the TDSB, FYI, and both my boys went through school boards here in Ontario. Very excited to show what CAMI can do and support our teachers, students, and communities in all of Canada. I'll let my partner introduce himself.
Thanks, Vicky, and welcome everybody across Canada today. From the shores of Newfoundland to beautiful British Columbia, we're so happy you've joined us. My name is Justin. I'm based in British Columbia. My whole career has been in education. I'm absolutely thrilled to be a part of CAMI. And one of the things that really got me excited about CAMI is our commitment to helping teachers provide impactful and inclusive learning experiences for all students. You'll see a lot of that in today's presentation. And we're really thrilled to have some special guests here today that will introduce themselves as well. So before we dive into CAMI, we do want to hear from you. Please take a look at the platform on your screen. And in the chat, I'd like for you to type something that you notice or wonder about CAMI right away before we dig any deeper. If there's a question you have or something that catches your eye, please type it in the chat and we can comment on it.
And I'm so excited to do a deep dive into CAMI with our expert personnel, if you will, sharing CAMI with us. I'm happy to, before we dive into that, we're going to go over a short video explaining what CAMI is. Before we do that, in addition to what Justin mentioned, wanted to touch base a little bit on PD. I understand how important professional development and implementation is on tools when it comes to resources in Canada. We are happy to support the needs of every school board, and accommodate PD to meet those needs. So we can speak further. If there are any questions, by all means, reach out. We will have our contact information on our sheets at the end. I'm also included in the chat. But before we do a deep dive, we'll show a quick video. And if you will, just share a hello in the chat. We'd love to see who's joined us today.
That's great. I'd love to just say a welcome as well, and thanks very much to our incredible team, Justin and Vicky. Just to give you an eyeball of where they're situated, you've heard how keen they are to support you, and this just gives you an idea that Justin is taking care of Western Canada and Vicky of Eastern Canada. And I'm Nicole, and we're also joined by Penny on the call today. You're going to hear more from us later, but do sit back and relax and enjoy this intro video. Wonderful. We would love to hear your thoughts. Out to that you loved seeing that intro and some of the accessibility that's available to students, not only within Cami, but within Cami Companion on the web. So if you noticed or wondered something, we're just really thrilled to see your comments in the chat, and we'll make sure to reply to those. So thank you for jumping in and letting us know what do you have as your initial thoughts of what you saw there. No doubt you saw the time save reference, and we're really interested in supporting that. We're going to now kick off with introducing one of our key trainers who is responsible for Canadian training. Penny, the wonderful Penny, we would love for you to introduce yourself and share some more with us about literacy and how that is supported in Cami.
Thanks, Nicole. Is my screen being shown?
You screen share, and then she's going to show us how Cami has powerful literacy supports.
Yeah, I shared my screen. Are we able to? Okay, great. Yeah. Okay, this is my screen. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So glad to see some familiar faces in the webinar today, like one of the Canadian teacher that I've trained recently, Adele. So my name is Penny, and I am the BDR for APAC and also for Canada region at Cami. So I was an ex-teacher in Singapore, and I used to teach history and English. So I'm so excited to be in Cami, supporting teachers in their classrooms to better engage students and also to be more efficient in classroom delivery. So I look at some of the comments earlier by some of the teachers, and you mentioned that you are interested to know more about classroom grading and all the powerful AI tools. So you're in luck, because I'm going to show you more about that later on. So what's our agenda for today? We have a very jam-packed agenda for today's webinar. We will be covering everything from literacy to numeracy to digital citizenship. And we also have a Canadian teacher sharing his expertise with all of us today. So without further ado, let me show you more about Cami. So in this first activity, I will be showing you how Cami can be used to support literacy. And this is the example that I will be using to showcase how to support literacy in your classroom. So what you can see over here is a Cami document that has already been converted. So when you look at this document, it does seem very daunting for students when they first receive this piece of assignment. The amount of words can be very overwhelming for some of our students. But with Cami, we can use the tools to better support our students. Our Understand tools on the left-hand side have features such as dictionary, translation, and even read aloud, re-level, and explain to really help to support our students. Students can use dictionary to know more about some of the words that they have difficulties with. They can also use the translation tool and to translate the passage into another language like French. And we also support more than 100 over languages. So this is very crucial when we are supporting students that are multilingual. And next, my absolute favorite tool to support students and to provide differentiated support would be the re-level tool. So for example, our re-level tool is according to the English Lexile level. We want to meet our students where they are at, and this is a grade 5 English passage. However, some of our students may not be at grade 5 proficiency. I would use re-level and re-level this to grade 4. So you can see that when it's been re-leveled to level 4, it modifies the original text by simplifying complex vocabulary, shortening sentence length, and clarifying sentence structure. A teacher can make use of this to make a high-level article accessible to students with lower reading proficiency or to English language learners, EAL or ELL learners, without changing the core information. And if you like this paragraph, you can even create comment from response. So your students can always refer to the right-hand side for easier understanding and reading. And this is how I will use Kami to support literacy. Let me show you the next example of how I can use Kami to transform static lessons into interactive and engaging experiences for our students. So with Kami, you can actually open any form of documents, whether is it a PDF, a Word document, a Google Slides, or even a Google Sheets. All you need to do is to download the extension and click on the Kami button. It will automatically convert the document into a Kami document for you. You just need to click on Open with Kami, and it's that fast. You don't need to use any third-party converter, and it has already converted my Word document into a Kami document like this. So on the document, I can use our question AI. So some of us are curious about how we can set auto-graded questions on Kami. With question AI, there are two ways on how you can set auto-graded questions. First, you can either use our convert function to use AI to turn existing assessment into auto-grading questions. The next one is to use generate. You can use AI to create new assessment with auto-grading questions. So for example, this is a passage with no question, and sometimes as teachers, we have a really packed schedule and we are rushing from class to class. We can use the generate function to generate questions based on this text. I can also choose the grade level and choose the language. So these are the languages that we support. And I'm going to focus these questions on page 1 to page 2. I can also choose either between short answer and multiple choice. To provide differentiated support for my students, I can click on Advanced Settings. And there, you can also vary the difficulty level, whether you want it to be below grade level, at grade level, or above grade level. You can also vary the depth of the knowledge level, the kind of questions you want Kami to set for you. So maybe I want to really stretch my students' thinking and set this as a level 3 questions. And all I need to do is to click on generate questions. And this will take less than 20 seconds. And let's see how Kami will generate AI questions for us and make this document into a quiz-like document. All right, let's give this a while. The question should be appearing really soon, and then we will be able to see the question. Let me click on this quickly and set it again. So the question will be generated and it will be on the right-hand corner of the document, and students will be able to answer these questions, and Kami will also grade the questions for them. So that is for the question AI generate part. You can also use if you already have a MCQ quiz questions or even short answer questions, you can use Kami to help you to convert the document into an auto-graded document. You just have to assign this document on your LMS, such as Google Classroom or Teams, and Kami will auto-grade for you. So there you have it on the right-hand side. I have used Kami to help me generate questions. The answers have also been generated. So this is the teacher preview. When you click on the binoculars over here, you will be able to see how the students will see this document from their end. The questions will be on the right-hand corner, and they will need to just complete these questions. Let me show you in a really quick second how you will see when the students have done the work. So once they have finished and they have turned in their assignment, Cami will grade them for you and even give them the correction. So it is that fast, it is that instant. So as teachers, this is really very helpful and help us to be much more efficient in class. So next, how else can we make this document into a much more interactive document? I can also add instructions into this document using our multi-modal annotations. Students have the option to use text box. They can write anywhere on the document, and they can also use highlighter under the markup to highlight anywhere on this document. They can also use the comment tools. My personal favorite is the comment tools, and students can reply to your text comment as well. They can also enable predictive text so that they can be supported when completing their Cami assignment. All right, so this is how, and there are different kind of comments tools, voice comments, video comment, and also screen capture. So as a visual learner, I also enjoy making my lesson much more engaging by embedding YouTube videos directly on the Cami document. So this is a video that I want my students to watch, and I can embed the video directly onto the Cami document without them having to go to YouTube directly. All I need to do is to paste the YouTube link over here, and I can even make use of Cami to help me trim the video. And what is wonderful about this function is that there will be no more annoying advertisements on the video. And I will just insert the video directly into my Cami document. And this is how I make my Cami document much more interactive, and my students can watch the videos on the document and leave comments on the document to let me know what they think about this video. And now that I've made my Cami document interactive and engaging with questions set, all I need to do is to share the link with my students to make it into an assignment. If I already have the Cami extension downloaded, I can assign to students directly on Google Classroom by clicking on Create Assignment. So there you have it. This is how I use Cami to transform static lessons into interactive and engaging experiences. So we also wanted to share this statement by our Cami Hero Trainer from Cohort 1, who said this in our previous UDL webinar. Cami shared that, I just want to say how powerful it is that you can change the font of the speech to text, and that doesn't happen in every tool, and to be able to speak text and have it in Open Dyslexic or Lexon, which are dyslexic-friendly fonts, and that's super powerful. So thank you to Cami for sharing with us about this notion. So before I move on, I would like to also introduce Joel, our Cami Hero Trainer who recently graduated from our most recent international cohort. Joel will be sharing about how he used Cami to significantly reduce the administrative burden on teachers, for example, class view for marking efficiency, signature tool for admin, and also differentiated instructions for students via voice comment.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Penny, for the kind introduction. I'm really happy to be here to talk to you about Cami. I've been using Cami for over 12 years, even before it was called the official Cami. It's a tool that has been just growing and growing with teachers in mind, especially. And today, that's exactly what I want to show you. There's the simple ways that I use it that does reduce that administrative burden on teachers. We all know that as teachers, we want to spend as much time as we can with students, and we want to support them as best as we can as well. So this is what we can do. What I'll show you today very quickly, it'll be a very direct look into class view, which is definitely a game changer with a little twist that even one-ups what we think of Google Classroom as well. 2, the signature tool. It is the underrated, undersung, unsung hero that we see for administrative stuff. Even though we are in a digital age, we still have to sign and publish and print numerous amounts of forms. And the signature tool in Cami allows us to eliminate all this hassle, and I'll show you how I use it very simply and efficiently as well. And then the last one that I really wanted to show you was the comment tool in audio and video form, just to differentiate student instruction and to make sure that students better understand. I come from a French school board in Eastern Ontario, and some of my teachers, as an English teacher, sometimes some of my students who speak French mainly, they need that extra little help. So those comment tools will help me to provide instruction. But let's not jump too quickly. Let's go to the first one that I wanted to show you, which is class view. So the first one, if I gave a Cami assignment in Google Classroom, and the first thing I wanted to show you is if I have the Cami extension, it's installed and all, well, I can only see one student at a time, and then I can always pop in, pop out, see from one student to another. I can switch up, but it's not the most efficient way of looking at my content. And there is this button that exists right here up top that allows you to open in class view. And I've pre-opened it for you just to make sure, so that this same assignment, while students are working in it, I can actually see and get a nice glimpse into what my students are doing as they are doing it as well. So I get to see their work as they are working on it. Same thing as Penny just showed you, the incredible auto questions that you can generate from Cami, or if you want to create them on your own, well, you can auto grade them from here as well, and your grades will pop up at the same time. So here is just something that I find is just such an amazing tool, getting a chance to get this class view. And I find that it really, really helps just to help out students who may be struggling, who may not be on the right path. Well, it's easier from my dashboard just to see where I can go, who I can help, and then just to get a nice clear view for my students. Now, what I wanted to show you here, where I said that Cami one-ups Google Classroom, it's this button that is right here. Switch to edit assignment. Let me jump to my Google Classroom just so you understand what I mean. So some of you may be in Microsoft territories or school boards. I'm in a Google school board, and I absolutely love Google Classroom in combination with Cami. As you can see, it's right here, and I do create my assignments in Cami as well. However, if I do use a Google Doc and I make a copy for each student, if I assign it to those students and then I realize, oh shoot, I forgot to add the proper link, or I forgot to maybe correct a minor mistake that I may have had on my document, I have to delete that assignment, then start over and republish it afterwards. That is a huge hassle for us as teachers. It creates stress. Our students then, they see two posting assignments and it confuses them too. They are living with enough stress, and so are we. So what can we do with Cami that makes it easier? Oh, let me show you. It just makes me so happy to see it every single time. So don't worry if I giggle. It actually makes me very happy. So when you click on this button right here, so you switch to edit the assignment. If I click here, and now let's hope my internet connection is good enough. Yes, it is. It allows me to edit my assignment, and some of you may have already seen up top, there was a button that says update all. So if I have drawn, or I wanted to add a comment, instruction, add that YouTube video, maybe like Penny showed you, well, I can do that. So let's say I wanted to add text just for instructions or extra instructions for my students. Well, then let's say I add it here, and then I say here, it is here for all my students. Maybe I wanted to add a comment just to show my students, make sure that you do this at this point here. So I can add that comment, remember to do this. Okay, that makes sense. It's all here. I've added my comments. The magic that happens here in Cami is that when I click on update all, I say, would you like to apply to all those students? Oh, yes, please. what we will see happen is that the adjustments that I've made on my copy will now be auto-populated on all of my students' copies. So I don't have to create a new copy for my students. I just have to re-click on that class view. And then if you look on every single one of my students' copy, there is now my own text that I added for them, along with my comments here as well. I don't know about you, but that is most definitely a game changer. And I hear a whole lot of the students or the teachers in my school who come to see me as that Google and Cami expert and saying, oh my gosh, I posted some stuff, it's wrong, is there another way to do it? And well, this is most definitely another way to do it. Now, this second thing I wanted to show you, I think class view is just an amazing thing, and I won't talk about all of the insights. Okay, I will. So just to show you very quickly, if you have those auto-generated grades and you correct your homework, what you can also see is you see this button here that's called Insights that we can use to give us insights into some of our students' performances. I won't jump into it too much because this one is not an assignment that's been graded, but it gives you those insights into how your students are doing, how they've either gone with their quiz. Oh, I will wait a little bit. Sorry, it was unresponsive. And it shows you just how your students are doing, and it shows you this nice graph just to give you this nice clear view as a class. Oh, there you go. So what it looks like. It shows you for this specific assignment as well. If you have type, once again, I didn't have any questions added, but you would see them right here, and you have that breakdown for all those questions. And if there's one specific question that most students got wrong, you know that it's content that you can go back to and then make sure to address that in the classroom as well. And if you have some students who seem to be struggling a little bit more, well, that's how we can differentiate our assignments and make sure that we target those students to help them out the most. Okay, now let's, I've shown you class view. I think it is an amazing tool. For those teachers who have not given it a try, give it a try and see how it's life-changing for you. I really, really enjoyed it. So let's step back from this and go into the more administrative stuff. And we all know that we have a lot of contracts to sign. We have some papers, some documents, everything that is from legal to just having parents sign documents. Well, if you have not used it, especially when you have copies like this one that I'm showing you on my screen, where the student has to sign, the coach has to sign, the parents have to sign, but we are all on different devices. We are an eco school as well, so we are eco-conscious. We don't want to print a whole ton of paper. So what's that one thing that we can do? Normally, and I'll give you the example for parent-teacher nights. What we do here is I have my Cami document open on my computer, and I also carry my iPad with me. And what I do, just for adding, you see this signature button that's right here. Whoops. You see my signature button that's right here at the bottom. What you can do for this is that I have a few signatures that have already been saved. If you have it in your computer, you can, but most parents are not there before. So what you can do is to draw or sign from a phone. I click on this, and then I have the QR code that is just available there. And I normally use my iPad, and I just open up the camera, and I have this available for my parents on the table. And you can see that it is up and ready. Oh, let's turn it around. Up and ready for you to sign. So I will just draw it right here, my signature. Yes, it is there. I have saved it. It's uploading, and it's right there in my document. That's what I do with my parents. That's what I do with, there you go. And I add it in my document. I have been doing this for a while, and I would not change it. I've even gotten my admin on board to using this function for most of their documents, the ones that they can control. That is administrative stuff. It's one that is just a game changer as well. And when we talk about reducing stress, just having those in and not relying on paper copies, sending that paper home, hoping the parents see the document, bringing it back, just having that digital copy signed And you may have seen also that for your signature, you can also copy the link. Now you can send that link if someone is far away and you maybe not want to share the entire document, you just want the parent's signature. We can do that in that same sense. Copy the link, send just an email with that link to sign. It's an easy way to get your parent's signature without running after your students, without running after the other teachers or your admin who's maybe hiding somewhere that you can't find. So it's an amazing way of finding all of your stuff and having it digitally for you. That's number 2. And I think I'm probably over the time, but I will just, my last one is, as I told you before, I teach in a French school board. I'm an English teacher and a tech teacher, as you can see, I'm in my makerspace. But when I'm in my English class with some of my French learners, sometimes they may need that extra help for some of that homework. So I really, Penny said that she loved the comment tools. I absolutely adore them and I use them for every single assignment. And that one thing that I use is those voice comments. I use them, one, as narration. So sometimes I will just, as the voice comment, I will read out the questions and then I'll actually explain what that question is and what I'm looking for as an answer. Sometimes we'll be reading short stories or short paragraphs. I will do the narration as well for some of my students, just to make sure that if they are struggling, they can actually hear my voice and then sometimes better understand what they are trying to read. We have all those tools that exist within Kami that can read for us, but I've found that sometimes our students, they have that connection with their teacher's voice, and if it doesn't have that specific voice, it doesn't quite work. Where I also use my video comments is for some students, if they just hear the words, it doesn't make sense to them and they can't quite process that info. So I use the video comments kind of like you're doing now. You are seeing my face, you are seeing my mouth moving with the words coming out. So the understanding comes from seeing the face, the mouth moving, hearing the words at the same time, and then trying to follow with the words that are there. I think we neglect just how powerful these comments or those comment tools can be within a document, especially for students who are struggling a little bit or maybe just a little bit shy or maybe not as proficient in a language. It does help to level that playing field. And I've been using this tool religiously. And you will not take Kami away from me. It is an amazing tool that really, really helps out in the classroom. I think I'll stop talking now. We may have gone overboard, but thank you very much, everyone. It was a pleasure to be here with you all.
Thank you so much, Joel. I want just to say such warm gratitude to you for sharing with us in such a meaningful way how you have changed the lives of the teachers, the parents, and the students by championing the Kami tools to support them. We're just really, really grateful that you could share that with others today. Thank you. And it's my great pleasure to share a little bit about how Kami can support with literacy. So my name is Nicole Rennie and I am part of the international team, and I'm a former mathematics teacher, so it is a great pleasure for me to share a little bit about how Kami can really come alongside you when you are teaching maths. But before we get to there, my implementation of Kami was as an EdTech coach, where I saw its impact in Kami classrooms throughout the schools that I supported. And not only was it a tool that was easy for even the tech hesitant or even the tech averse teachers, but it slots right into the places that teachers and students are already working. So it meets them where they're at in their Google or Microsoft environments and in their LMS with quicker, simpler options for teachers. So before we get into too much of the numeracy, I have a surprise for you. And I wanted to share this because specifically in Canada, I know that Canadian districts right now are carefully trying to navigate the opportunities and the challenges of AI in education. It is a priority that requires balance ensuring that innovation protects the students' learning and well-being. That's of the utmost importance. And so in sensing this huge need, we've put together this new AI resource for you, and we've placed it in our Kami library, so it's accessible to everyone. Perhaps we can pop that link into the chat. And of course, after our session, if you fill out our feedback form, we will share all of the session notes with all of these wonderful things that we have prepared for you. So really, we would like to show you what this looks like, this AI booklet inside of the library. It will be an opportunity for you to work through some of the challenging terms and understanding of what it is to include AI in schools. I'll open up and just briefly give you a look at the booklet, and this will be something you will be able to enjoy with your students. So we have an introduction, we have some definitions that students can get to know, then we have some fun activities like a crossword where they can find a word search of those words. They can learn how to create a glossary using the Kami tools to put the terminology in their own words. And then we talk about some of the main things to consider when a school is implementing AI. It's important to know what AI you have at your disposal, to know the difference between how to learn and what to learn and how AI fits into all of that. And then we talk through specifically the philosophy of Kami and how Kami has very purposely implemented AI that doesn't involve a student or a teacher needing to have an interaction with a chatbot, but specifically education AI applications. And you'll see some of that in what I show you in the mathematics. So that is available to you in the Kami library. And I'm going to move on to show you now some Kami for mathematics. I'm going to begin with a real image of my daughter, who has had the privilege of knowing Kami throughout her schooling. And this image just shows you how she was able to work in conjunction with whatever curriculum resources. In fact, this was her working on some past papers for her finals. And she found the freedom of working with a stylus and writing on the grid paper a very, very good way to not just save paper when working through reams and reams of exams, but also to make meaning with color and with the ability to draw so freely digitally. So that experience is enhanced because of those tools, and that really was beneficial. And I'm going to show you very simply how you can have those simple ways to create mathematics notes. So if I give you a short tip, just by typing in kami.new, you can begin with a brand new canvas. And there you can begin writing your own mathematics notes simply by drawing on the page. So we have a whiteboarding experience at your fingertips. Those of you who've just installed the extension for the first time, by clicking on your extension, you'll go to a dashboard. And I just want to show you the simple way that you can begin with some mathematics grid paper. By clicking on the blank page option, there are in fact many different types of blank pages you could choose from. And grid paper for numeracy can be very helpful in laying out your mathematics. You can choose the grid size, you can choose the thickness, you can even choose the color of the grid lines that you would prefer. And the grid paper will be able to be made exactly to your specs and open up directly into Kami, where you can begin to work. So I just wanted to make sure I didn't leave out the simplicity of beginning and using mathematics notes in Kami. Now let's take a look at an actual Canadian resource, a context that you'll hopefully recognize very well. And that is a document, a curriculum resource you can download and open into Kami quite simply. But I'm going to show you some of the ways that Kami can transform that experience for you. Sometimes we want to bring curriculum resources we already have, but we want to make them interactive and we want to make some adjustments. Of course, you have the overall oversight, you know your students best and what they need. So this particular resource is beautiful. It has the Canadian coins, and it's going to give some experience of students working to identify the coins. But it comes with the memo, and I don't want to share that with my students. So the first thing I'm going to show you is our beautiful split and merge tool. This, quite simply, by clicking on the suitcase and clicking on split and merge, you can have the opportunity to craft the resource into the way you'd like it. So directly for your students, you can, so in this instance, remove the memo page because I don't want to share that out as well as the assignment page. And then you can add to that. Any row or shelf in our split and merge creates a brand new file. Now, I know what you might be thinking. As educators, we get terrified of losing files, but your original will stay exactly the same. This is going to create a completely new file for you. And we're going to add to this a document where I've simply been able to take the experience the students are going to have and extended it to a more creative way for the students to have expression and to play with the coins. So being creative, being curious, and to actually create something. I've just quickly typed a few questions, and I'm going to now bring that into one resource. So I'm going to click on export and bring this into Kami, where I'll show you how you can now have a curated resource just for your students. One of the initial tools that one can use here, of course, is the drawing tool. So students can have fun. And I've been learning the Canadian currency and coins. So your toonie, I would match up here with this particular coin. Is a beautiful coin. And the students would be able to draw and interact directly on the pages here. And they can choose color. We have over 250 different color swatches. Plus, we also have a color picker. So if you want to be extra specially precise with your colors, there is so much opportunity here. And then the next diagram that I have that I just quickly typed up some pictures on, I'm going to give you the opportunity to have more of these interactive resources where students can move the coins around. So I wanted to show you what if students get to create and be curious. So they can use the document that's there, but then they can also add their own picture of something. Either they draw a picture or they can add a picture of something that they would like to buy. So I can go to add media and we have a saved image search. And no doubt if I'm a student, I might decide that I'd like to purchase a chocolate. So let's go ahead and take an image of a chocolate. Here we go. So it's quite simple for me to add an image. And then I could make up a price. So I could use my drawing tool and I could decide, okay, this is going to be $2.25. All right. And now I get to play with the coins and decide how I would create the payment that I would need in order to buy that item. So students can really have fun by moving the correct coins into place. I would need my $2 and my quarter to make up that amount to pay. Now, the drag and drop activity that is so easily created here in Kami helps you to make very simple numeracy experiences. As a mathematics teacher, I know that it's when students experience something that they really have a solid learning. And so we are going to gift you on our slides, which again, we'll share when you fill out the feedback form. We're going to share with you a document that will create your own copy and allow you to save these coins to your own annotation bank. So here I can click to save something to my annotation bank, and you can do so. And then you can even create folders where you can reuse these coins for any types of activities that you would like to have with your students. So I really hope you have fun. That's a digital gift from us. And the second resource I'm going to go into is a bit more sophisticated mathematics. But here I'm going to show you a typical Alberta exam paper for older students. And I'm going to give you some of the experience of some of the other tools that are really helpful for mathematics. So first of all, of course, we can use read aloud and we can read aloud the text on the page. We have an area read aloud that will select and read aloud. And we can also choose to have that read aloud in whatever voice we prefer. So you can pick the voice you like, and you can even pick the speed at which it is read out. So it will read out the mathematical symbols for you, and it will also give you that opportunity to change the voice and speed. One of the things that I love about using Kami for mathematics is, particularly if you have only a textbook resource, students really do not like to write, or often can't write on the textbook itself. And so it's limited in what they can do to really experience that content. Students in mathematics benefit hugely from being able to actually draw out their thinking. And this can be done both on the page, and I'll show you also with our screen capture. So here we've got a diagram where we're interested in looking at a few things here. We're looking at the domain, which is the values of X, and we're looking at what happens to the graph when we have a change in the X values. So we're going to have a transformation which flips the X values from negative to positive. So what I can do is I can very quickly just draw out what that looks like. And I'm going to, so instead of negative, it's going to be positive here. Instead of positive there, it's going to be negative here. I can get a sense of what's happening to my diagram. Instead of positive there, it's going to be, negative there, it's going to be positive here. And I'm starting to get an idea of what this looks like, except I'm on the square. So let me go to the drawing tool. I'm going to just freehand draw this for you. Here we go. So I'm starting to get a look at what this transformation is going to look like. And it's going to go up all the way to the 6. So even though I'm roughly drawing, I'm getting a sense of what's happening. And number sense is essential. If a student can work through a problem, then they can understand a problem. Now, I do have to draw your attention to, while we're talking about understanding, also the benefit of the understand tool. So if I had no idea how to tackle this problem, I could in fact use the explain tool and ask the explain tool to let me know what I need to do here. Explain what it is that's written on the page. And the explain tool offers a powerful step-by-step explanation of what is happening. It tells me that we're talking about the domain. It helps me begin to tackle the problem. So that is an incredibly powerful tool. And all of the Kami tools can be turned on or off. So where you're having students learning and practicing a certain new concept, you can allow for those features like the explain tool. And where you have an assessment where you're taking in their understanding, you can actually turn off those tools. I just wanted to draw your attention to the fact that you can always craft that experience. Some of the other tools that are incredibly helpful for mathematics would be, of course, to look at the markup tools. These are very helpful for understanding what's happening. So in this diagram, from -4 all the way across is where the domain was of the original function. When we flip that function by the y value, and then we also shift the graph 4 units to the right, we will then see a very different change in the domain. And a student can actually work that problem. If we're going to work the diagram to the right, I'm going to just move this 4 points. Also, lovely opportunity for me to remind you that you can zoom in up to over 500%, 700, up to 1,000% now. So if you have any students who are visually impaired, or purely just for working with graphs where you want to zoom in and you want to really understand what you're working with, the zoom function is super, super helpful. So now I'm getting a sense of what's going to happen to my domain for the previous for the new function when I've transformed it, and I can choose a different color. I'm going to move on for time and just show you another example. Here again, you can use the markup, but you could choose to use the freehand markup. Really being able to see which graph is which sounds simple, but is Very effective. So now I get a sense of, okay, they're talking about the graph of G and the graph of F, and they're talking about the relationship between the two of them. So what is it that's different about the green graph and the pink graph? I can see here the rate of acceleration is far steeper for the green graph, which helps me then to plot points in and decide which of these is a possible equation. But simply adding some color is hugely helpful here. Let me move on now to show you a little bit of our equation tool. So very important tool over here on the left for mathematics is our equation tool. And I want to show you how simple it is for students to type. Of course, students can use the drawing tool to write out mathematics, but here is an example of using the functions tool, the equations tool, to type. And there are many shortcuts that we can use here. So for example, if I use Shift minus, that will give me the base. And it's very quick for me to do an exponent by just simply using the cap. And for a fraction, I can simply do a slash, and then that brings me the fraction. So really, it is a very quick process to write out your functions and then to be able to see how you can solve the problem. Going even further than that, there are many shortcuts. So if you at first are playing with the equation tool and you're thinking you need to click on every single tool here, you don't. Let me show you a little more. There are quick ways for you to type mathematics. If I was to solve this equation, I might very quickly just type 3 and I use the copy to do my exponent. And then if I'd like to, for instance, use the therefore symbol, I can just simply type with a slash, if I spell therefore, and then it will give me the, you can never type while you're speaking at the same time. Give me your grace for that again. When you type into the equation tool, what you can do is then have a shortcut which gives you the therefore symbol. So let me do that for you once more. Here we go. So we slash therefore, and it gives you the therefore symbol. So you have these shortcuts to make it simpler for you. And you can also create equation mathematics symbols within the text box. So it's important for me to show you that. If I use this f of x inside of the equation tool, that allows me to then do multiple lines of functions within one block. So if I'd like to move it at one go, and if there are any mathematics teachers on the call, then I know what you'll be thinking. You'll be thinking it's really important that the x is all the x terms on one side, that we've isolated them, but also that the equals 0 is in line. I'm going to use my functions again so that I can write out with mathematics symbols. And I'm going to be able to line up that equal sign, which is so important because I've got these both within the text box tool. What I can do then is I can line up my equal sign and I can get this into line and I can move it as one block. So that's the thing that is really awesome about being able to use Kami in this way. We can actually do this and be able to have the whole expression together. Then what I'd like to move on to show you is that our explain tool, our summarize tool, and our relevel tool, which are new tools that are not only incredibly powerful for literacy, but also for mathematics, can even be used on handwritten mathematics. So you will have students who will like to handwrite mathematics, and you can either do this digitally on a stylus, or here I've simply written on a piece of paper and use the Kami camera tool to actually bring that onto my assignment page. And using the explain tool, it will explain that mathematics to me. So even handwritten mathematics can be comprehended, can be interrogated, can be understood with all of these wonderful understand tools on handwritten, not just typed maths symbols. Wonderful. So we have a lot of extra slides in here for you when we share those with you afterwards. But my quick reminder before we bring to a close is that it all begins with the extension. So please don't forget to go and get yourself the Cami extension. It'll connect to either your Google Suite or your Microsoft Suite, and it will give you options in your LMS. There are several LMSs that we integrate with. And so not just the tools and features that you're using, as well as Canva and other curriculum resources, but your LMSs. Predominantly in Canada, you may be using Google Classroom, Microsoft Teams, and D2L. Those are fully supported as integrations. And there are videos for you in our so those will be available for you to view on your own. But it's now time for me to hand over. Thank you so much for learning a little about how Cami supports mathematics.
Thank you so much, Nicole. And I did want to say a special thank you to Nicole, Penny, Joel, all for presenting today. And thank all of you for joining our webinar. I hope you've left with a clearer understanding of how Cami can transform and unlock your creative potential. We're excited to see all the incredible things that you'll eventually create. And thank you for being a part of the Cami community. Oh, Vicky, you're on mute. Sorry.
Well, you missed some brilliant conversation. Again, I want to echo what Justin said. Thank you to all our presenters. Thank you to Joel for volunteering your time. Greatly appreciate you. And thank you to all for joining us this afternoon on your own time, hoping that you've seen something in Cami that can resonate in your classroom, and feel free to reach out with any questions.
Have a great day.
Bye, all.